the top stories, Skelec management and workers meet following strike. St. Kitts and Nevis and Venezuela celebrates diplomatic relations, and Prime Minister Drew praises the contribution of retired nurses. The details on these stories and more after the break.
Mosoka, 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 mosoka.
Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. I'm Carla Barrage. Employees of Skelec have been assured that their concerns will be addressed after management met with them on Tuesday afternoon. The meeting followed a strike on Tuesday morning outside the Ministry of Public Utilities. According to a Skelec official, Minister of Public Utilities, Honorable Conrad Maynard, was present at the meeting and gave his commitment to assist the staff where he can. According to the official, an appropriate timeline would be set to deal with the grievances. The minister also appealed to the staff to follow the process. Among the Skelec workers' list of requests are the payment of risk pay, payment of an honorarium for the workers, retroactive payments that were previously promised, and opportunities for training. St. Kitts and Nevis and Venezuela celebrated 39 years of diplomatic relations on Monday at a ceremony at government headquarters. The event was celebrated with the cutting of a cake to commemorate the occasion by Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, as well as Marco Antonio Guzman Adrian, Charge d'Affaires of the Embassy of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Minister Douglas welcomed Mr. Guzman Adrian and hailed the relationship between both countries as strong and fruitful, and extended cordial greetings on the occasion of the established diplomatic relations. He said, quote, "Beyond the Caribbean and proximity of our countries, there are also common interests through broad perspectives and foreign policy positions. It is for this reason that we reiterate our commitment to continue creating and promoting together new stages of cooperation between our two countries," end quote. Prime Minister Drew said, quote, "Wonderful relationship that we have really enjoyed over the last 39 years. To hear that we established relations since the 1800s really speaks volumes of our natural inclination towards each other, and we really look forward to strengthening the bonds and relationship for the benefit of all our people," end quote. Charge d'Affaires Guzman Adrian said that through research, he discovered that the first Venezuelan consul to St. Kitts and Nevis was appointed on August 6, 1862. He noted that the bond of brotherhood has a renewed hope and promises to be a very beautiful relationship for the well-being of our two people. The contributions of retired nurses who continue to play active roles in the effective delivery of healthcare services in St. Kitts and Nevis were highlighted and applauded by Prime Minister and Minister of Health, Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, on Sunday. The Prime Minister was speaking at a special service at the Pentecostal Church of God in Bastille in recognition of the 10th anniversary of the Retired Energetic Nurses Touching All Lives Rental Association. Prime Minister Drew spoke of the sacrifices that nurses have made in the course of their duties.
The reality is that being a nurse calls for tremendous sacrifice. You sacrifice time with your family and loved ones, and you sacrifice your own lives. This is more evident than ever with the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and the commitment and sacrifice that was required to ensure the safety of our nation. Many of you went home. Many of you touched lives not knowing what would happen to you or your family. But in a real way, you demonstrated why nursing is a calling and not a job.
The Prime Minister went on to speak about the significance of the anniversary's theme, 10 years together, still making a difference.
This year's theme suggests activeness. It says, yes, we have retired, but we are still here making an impact, contributing to the healthcare industry and serving our fellow citizens and residents. This is indeed commendable. You didn't just retire, but you chose instead to find meaning in your retirement by forming an association where you can continue to engage and to serve.
Among those present at the special service were the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, Senator Honorable Iselin Phillip, members of the Retired Energetic Nurses Touching All Lives Rental Association, members of the St. Kitts Nurses Association, nursing students, and other members of the medical fraternity. St. Kitts has joined the regional recognition of CARICOM Energy Month, which is observed annually in November. The month's activities will be guided by the theme "Our Future is Electric." In an address to officially launch the month, Minister of Energy Honorable Congress Maynard outlined what an electric future would mean.
This theme is meant to highlight the need for us to produce 100% of our electricity from renewable sources and convert all our energy end use to electricity. In our case, that would mean ending our dependence on fossil fuels, such as diesel for power generation. Instead, we will now be looking to power our electric grids from solar, wind, geothermal, and other forms of renewable sources. It will also mean doing all our cooking using electric stoves and using electric vehicles as our means of transport.
Minister Maynard recognized the challenges associated with the goal of making the Federation's future electric by 2030 and outlined steps that are being taken to ensure the goal's success. He spoke specifically of the new National Energy Task Force, which was commissioned recently.
This task force will be jointly coordinated with the Ministry of Environment and Climate Action, which is led by Honorable Dr. Joel Clark. Additionally, we are engaging regional experts at the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, CCRE, and also at the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, to aid in the development of a whole-of-government energy transition strategy, which will form the terms of reference for our National Energy Task Force to use. The National Energy Task Force will then consolidate all the ongoing and prospective projects in the pipeline, such as geothermal in Nevis and solar and wind in St. Kitts, to ensure that we have a unified, structured, strategic, and fit-for-purpose pathway to 100% energy independence.
The Energy Minister outlined plans for a single grid to power both St. Kitts and Nevis.
The National Energy Task Force will then consolidate all the ongoing and prospective projects in the pipeline, such as geothermal in Nevis and solar and wind in St. Kitts, to ensure that we have a unified, structured, strategic, and fit-for-purpose pathway to 100% energy independence. This unified approach will be premised on developing one grid in St. Kitts and Nevis, where the electrical grid in St. Kitts is directly connected to the electrical grid in Nevis. One grid will significantly increase the resilience of power supply across both islands, such that excess renewable power generated on either island can be shared across both islands.
Activities for CARICOM Energy Month 2022 include a beach cleanup, primary schools quiz, a jingle competition, an interministerial funding, an energy fair and bulb drive, soca size, family feud, and the launch of the Energy Unit's website. After the break, South Korean high-level delegation visits St. Kitts, and St. Kitts Nevis chairs CARICOM Quartet meeting. Stay with us.
Elevate your experience with Flow's fiber-fast internet and mobile combined. Enjoy double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines, plus up to 35 megabits per second home internet speed at the best rate, giving you the best value to stay connected. I think our Flow mobile is elevated.
You think?
An elevated experience starts with Flow at home, powering double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines at the best rate. Visit a Flow store to sign up today.
What's your reason?
Because on weekends we have special from Thursday up to Monday. So I will encourage more people to come.
What's your reason?
They like come up for the cheap shrimps. You know, cheap things good now when I get.
There's always a great reason to shop at Hortsports Value Mart IGA.
You could find the products that you really need.
Hortsports Value Mart IGA, where
Price matters most.
Shop smart at Value Mart.
Green means go with one rate.
Green means go with one rate. From Republic Bank, go green with hybrid or electric vehicles, and it's one low rate. And we mean low. Go green with solar-powered air conditioners, grids, water heaters, and it's still the same low rate. Any green product, one low rate. Offer ends December 31st.
Green means go with one rate today.
Call or check your nearest branch for details.
Welcome back. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, recently met with a high-level delegation from South Korea. The 8-member delegation, led by Special Envoy and Senior Secretary in the Office of the President of South Korea, Song Min-jang, visited the Federation primarily to discuss support for South Korea's bid to host the Expo 2030. The delegation also included South Korea's non-resident ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to the region, His Excellency Mr. In-ho Lee. The meeting discussed the exploration of several areas of mutual interest between both countries. Minister Douglas emphasized the need to collaborate, establishing more manufacturing industries for St. Kitts and Nevis as a means of increasing job creation for citizens of the Federation. The minister also stressed the importance of re-implementing the one-to-one laptop program. He also discussed the link between agriculture and fisheries in our small island developing state and categorized the fishing industry as a growing sector of our economy that can be further developed via improvements to existing fisheries complexes to diversify the market. Minister Douglas also noted that Nevis has great potential for high-capacity geothermal production, and a geothermal production facility in St. Kitts and Nevis could potentially push the Federation one step closer to achieving green energy and ultimately a green economy. The visit concluded on the 20th of October. CARICOM Ministers of Environment convened a virtual meeting for the opening of the 105th Special Meeting of the Council for Trade and Economic Development, COTED, on Friday, October 28th. COTED promotes CARICOM's trade and economic development. It also oversees the operations of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME. Minister of Sustainable Development and Environment and outgoing chairperson of COTED, Honorable Dr. Joel Clark, led the ministerial caucus that included representatives from Belize, Barbados, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Trinidad and Tobago. The objective of the session was to prepare for two major conferences: the 27th session of the Conference of Parties COP27 to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in Egypt and the UN Biodiversity Convention COP15 in Canada. The expectation is that the Caribbean region commits to a unified approach at both conferences. Minister Clark told her colleague ministers, quote, "I would like to see us as a grouping of ministers and countries to come up with practical and homegrown ways of ensuring that we are benefiting from these multilateral processes. I would like to see us make progress on accessing finance, improving efficiency in environmental governance, and streaming our messaging and advocacy at the international level," end quote. In the meantime, St. Lucia will assume the chairmanship of COTED. With the curtains closed on the month of elderly activities, the Department of Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities has shifted focus to the youth for the launch of its month-long activities, which will highlight the partnerships with seniors and the differently abled. This is according to Minister with Responsibility for Youth Empowerment, Aging and Disabilities, Honorable Iselene Phillip, during an address on Tuesday to launch the start of the activities to celebrate Youth Month.
This shift in generational focus from seniors to the youth illustrates generational transition of stewardship that is vital to our development as a people and nation. While we honored the contributions of our older persons in October, this year, in November, we seek to inspire and encourage our young people to take responsibility by recognizing and applying the lessons learned and skills gained from our senior stalwarts.
Senator Phillips said this month's activities are designed to channel the creativity, passion and talent of the nation's youth. Some of the activities mentioned were the annual bike ride and a fun day for youth with disabilities.
One such activity on the Youth Month schedule is the annual Island Bike Ride. This activity seeks to engage the young people and young at heart to get active and take a leisurely group bike ride around the island to appreciate our natural environment. I encourage all able-bodied persons to register for this event and challenge yourself to accomplishing the full ride. It is a great experience for families and friends to enjoy together. More immediately, on November 4th, the Departments of Youth Empowerment, Social Services, Education and Sports are partnering to host a fun day for youth with disabilities who attend the Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School. I look forward to the smiles and laughter that are sure to fill the air on that day of fun games and activities.
Youth Month activities are held annually in the month of November. This year's activities are being guided by the theme, Taking Charge of Our Future, Creative, Focused and Energized. The Irish Town and Tucker Clark Primary Schools will be beneficiaries of a monetary donation by Dr. Duane Jones, a national who has adopted the Dr. William Connor Primary School. On Tuesday, Jasenia Jones, Managing Director of Jones Group Limited, presented Minister of Education, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, with a check on behalf of Dr. Jones. In a brief visit to the office of the Minister of Education, Ms. Jones explained that the financial donation was intended for the Irish Town and the Tucker Clark Primary Schools as they were recently adopted by the enterprise. Dr. Hanley shared his intentions for the donation, stating that the students must benefit from the donation immediately.
So I really want to thank you, the entire organization, and of course your dad in particular. Yes. And I've also given the instructions to the principals that this money is not to be put on any bank account. This money must be invested directly back into the schools.
Dr. Duane Jones was born and raised in McKnight and has been contributing to the development of sports and education throughout various communities in the Federation. In 2011, he adopted the Dr. William Connor Primary School. Coming up in regional news, ECCB Governor urges fiscal management for Grenadian pensioners. The details when we come back.